Today, artificial intelligence is leaving the sandbox. We are moving past casual chatbot interactions and dropping large language models directly into high-liability enterprise operations. But standard generative AI carries a deep operational flaw into these environments. It is designed to produce highly persuasive, fluent text without applying any underlying structural discipline to the information it generates. In critical workflows, that fluency becomes a liability. When an unstructured model processes complex enterprise data, it masks unverified claims and hidden contradictions right up until it shatters against the reality of a rigorous operational test. EP Function 03, structural diagnosis, acts at a mandatory architectural control layer that intercepts the work before the final output is generated. Instead of letting the model predict the next plausible-sounding word, this function forces the system to map the actual operational reality of the task at hand. To prove commercial viability to investors, this capability must pass 3 strict traction tests. It has to demonstrate undeniable market demand, repeatable execution, and exact scalability. Mastering this structural deficit is the objective for any system attempting to handle high-stakes commercial work. Look at this structure. This represents a complex contract or enterprise workflow. Structural diagnosis treats this data as a physical system requiring rigorous mapping. The system identifies exact entry inputs, the sources, and designated drainage points, or sinks, where the task concludes. Next, it maps specific operational pathways connecting these points, along with strict bottlenecks and barriers that threaten to disrupt workflow. Finally, the system overlays governing rule sets, constraints forming a rigid boundary, and identifies internal feedback loops required for error correction. By imposing this map, the AI's processing objective shifts. The system stops asking, "Is this text plausible?" and starts asking, "Does this output possess the required operational structure?" Applying this level of architectural rigor converts an unpredictable text generator into a controlled, auditable engine for enterprise work. In enterprise software, true demand only emerges when a repeated failure becomes financially and operationally too expensive to ignore. Deploying an uncontrolled text generator into sensitive departments like legal review, financial analysis, or engineering creates immediate, severe risks. A casual chatbot can afford loose reasoning. These environments cannot. This map shows the vulnerability points. When unstructured AI hallucinates a regulatory clause or misreads a data pipeline, the result is cost overruns, operational delays, and acute ecolagability. Enterprise buyers do not need more persuasive text summaries to solve this. They require a system that explicitly exposes why a specific workflow, policy, or contract succeeds or fails. The standard of proof is exacting. AI outputs in these settings must be structurally reliable enough to survive intense, line-by-line scrutiny by lawyers, engineers, and executive decision-makers. The market demand for structural diagnosis is driven entirely by this commercial necessity, the need to eliminate business risk from deep deployment architectures. Having a concept is not enough. Execution requires the AI to repeatedly perform this structural mapping under intense operational pressure across real-world tasks. When handed a vague, messy enterprise scenario, the function must force that ambiguity into a defined set of operational boundaries before it generates an answer. As the data reorganizes into this strict diagnostic map, it actively flags hidden contradictions and logical gaps that standard language models typically miss. Once a failure point is isolated, the system establishes exact correction rules and specifies mandatory intervention routes for operators to follow. This creates a direct contrast with standard AI. The reasoning path is pulled out of the black box of fluent language and made fully inspectable by the operator. Under this diagnostic framework, an error is not simply edited away. It is classified, it is tagged, and mathematically utilized to refine the next execution cycle. This level of operational transparency and correctability means a workflow or an enterprise proposal generated through this system is inherently safer, more reliable, and ultimately more investable. Finally, this capability must demonstrate scalability. Within the energetic paradigm framework, scalability does not mean claiming one function can solve every problem. It means preserving the exact same operating logic under drastically different task pressures. Structural diagnostics is engineered as a reusable, productized diagnostic module designed for repeatable integration. This identical module can be duplicated and seamlessly slotted into diverse systems, whether it's driving a due diligence dashboard, mapping a process redesign, or operating inside AI governance gates. The surface-level data changes drastically across these verticals, but the underlying computational function, identifying structural failure, remains perfectly constant. This repeatability allows the diagnostic function to be packaged into enterprise software templates, quality gates, and autonomous agent policies. True scalable value for investors relies on exactly this kind of repeatable mechanism. It establishes a unified operating standard across highly diverse vertical markets. Structural diagnostics connects a real market pain to an executable method and a highly scalable product logic, locking together three critical axes of traction. Demand arises inevitably from the commercial failure of ordinary, unstructured AI workflows under high liability conditions. Execution is proven by the system's ability to ruthlessly map operational reality inside real-world, high-pressure tasks. And scalability is achieved by packaging this core function into a repeatable, domain-agnostic operating component. EP Function 03 serves as a critical piece of enterprise infrastructure. This function is the mechanism that ensures advanced AI work is controlled, deductive, correctable, and truly operationally ready. Converting a recurring, expensive AI failure into a repeatable architectural capability is precisely what makes this system undeniably investable.